All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Music City Trop Rock. I'm your host, Jason Acey, coming to you live from Leaky Tiki Studios in Nashville, Tennessee. And we don't really have any Trop Rock news tonight. And this is kind of a short notice thing because I sent out some messages this morning to some people that I wanted to get on the show, and uh, Mr. John Frinzi, the Florida man himself, messaged me back and said, "Let's do it tonight." So I said, "All right." So we're doing it. So here we are, and John's coming. He's just like he's changing clothes real quick. I don't know what's happening in the background, and we're going to bring him on. There he is.
Hey,
Hey, John, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing pretty good, man. Glad you could make it happen today. When I sent that message, I wasn't expecting you to do it today, but we're making it happen anyway.
Well, I'm excited to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, man. So what part of Florida are you in?
I live in Gulfport, Florida, which is right on the Gulf Coast, right on St. Pete Beach, basically.
St. Peach. So did
I can
y'all?
see I can see what's left of the Tropicana field in downtown St. Pete from my window.
Mm,
Over there, I can see St. Pete Beach. So I'm right between downtown St. Pete and St.
did y'all have a lot of damage there, or did you have to
We did.
evacuate?
Yeah, we evacuated twice in the last 3 weeks.
Right, right, man. So do you live up off the ground, or?
Yeah, we're on the top floor of a condo, but we're right on Boca Ciega Bay, which feeds into the Gulf of Mexico. There's a marina right outside my window, and yeah, we got. Personally, we did okay, but our building took some damage, and the town of Gulfport was hit pretty hard. Let's see, four or
Okay.
five blocks in. We have a beach here in Gulfport, and four or
Mhm.
five blocks in from the beach, we got. I mean, everybody's furniture is out on the streets and washing machines and all that kind of stuff. So it's just
Dang.
it's hurricane. It looks like a war zone here. So
Right. I hate it, man. Still sending up prayers for everybody, and that had damage, or
thank you.
all that kind of stuff. We want to make sure everybody kind of do what we can to help people get recovered, and all the way up through the Appalachia last week, it was just
Crazy, unbelievable.
devastation.
Yeah, I have friends up in Asheville, and they did okay, but we're just outside of where they are. They got hit so hard. It's just a sad deal. But
Yeah,
unfortunately, see more of this as the weather changes. So
it's
hope for the best.
terrible.
Move
Uh,
to the mountains.
way up in the mountains.
Yeah. Anyhow, so what's going on? Tell me about your show. I don't know much about the show.
Oh, this show, yeah, I started it a while back. Just trying to what's the word I'm looking for? Promote people in the trop rock industry. To be a cheerleader for other people and doing the same thing that I'm trying to do, and just thought it would be a cool thing to do.
It is indeed. It is indeed. I have to say that I'm woefully unprepared for this, and I see that my phone is on. I tried to get this happening on my desktop, and that didn't work. So I was able to connect on my phone, and my battery is at about 10%.
Uh oh. Uh
I may
oh.
get it. I may have to get it plugged in, and
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you play music or take breaks or anything like that?
No, I just usually like to go, 20, 30 minutes or something like that. But whatever we make it happen, it'll be all right. Yeah, but I don't know if you know, this is I do this live on my YouTube channel, Jason AC Official, and so
Cool.
there's a playlist on there called Music City Trop Rock. You can look at all the other episodes and all that kind of stuff, and it is played on Radio A1A on Fridays at noon.
Great. I love those guys.
Yeah, Harry T doing me a solid there, putting the show up there. But
That's
yeah,
great. Well, I have to say, you look fantastic. You're all lit up well. The studio looks great. Wow. I used to look like that.
yeah, it took me a while to get all this figured out, and I'm still troubleshooting
But
sometimes,
we
but.
just got electricity yesterday, so
Oh, yeah, we'll let you slide on that one. We'll let
Yeah,
you slide on that one. If you haven't seen the show, this is something kind of different. This is my first question that I ask every guest, and
great.
it's an oddball question.
Oh, I can't see it. You're gonna have to read it to me.
Do you believe in Bigfoot?
You know what? I'm not sure that I do.
Okay.
I don't. I'm going to say no to that one. I don't think I do believe in Bigfoot.
All right. I know it's an oddball question, but I know it's just kind of
That's okay.
it's a good conversation starter when some people have a story or, something like that. Uh, anyway, if you don't believe, then we'll move right along. I think they call them skunk apes down there in Florida.
Skunk apes. Well, we have all kinds of things that really exist down here in Florida, and most of them are a lot scarier than Bigfoot. We have actual Florida men down here that are
There
pretty.
you go. There you go.
What's your
So,
next one? What do you got?
yeah, we'll just get right into talking about music since you might not have a whole lot of time. John, you've been putting out music for like 20 years. It looks like something like that, 20 years.
Yeah.
And just for people that might not know you or people that watch us in the future that might be outside of your fan base that are watching this or whatever,
Sure.
tell us, who is John Frinzi?
Oh, okay. That's a good question for somebody else, I think. I just sing and write songs and play guitar and play a little piano, and I love to sing other people's songs too. I think you can label me as a broad singer songwriter. I think as a broad label. A lot of people know me for singing Jimmy Buffett songs, and that's something I love to do and play with a lot of the guys that Jimmy's played with over the years, and that's an honor. And I love singing those songs, and I've done quite a bit of that in the last year since Jimmy's passed. And I get to write original songs with some great friends and some amazingly talented songwriters like Aaron Schurz and my old friend Tom Corcoran and others. And so I've kind of I have my hands full with doing those things. And I play a lot of shows. I travel quite a bit,
Mhm.
and yeah, I think that kind of kind of says what I need to say. I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like.
I was reading on your bio on your website. It said that uh, some of your early demos caught Doyle Grisham's ear, and that you started working with him, and that led to your debut album, Into the Dawn.
That's right. That's absolutely right. Yeah,
Yeah.
I started. I made a little demo record back 25 years ago, almost now, and I sent a couple of copies out to a couple of publishing companies. And at the time, Doyle was a partner in a publishing company called called Gulf Steel Music. Doyle Grisham, for those who don't know, Doyle Grisham has been Jimmy Buffett's steel guitar player since the very beginning, back in the early '70s, and he's also played with just about everybody else in Nashville. He's also an accomplished engineer and ran recording studios in Nashville, and he's become a dear friend in the last years. But I sent a demo out to him, to his publishing company, and I got a phone call from his partner Danny at the time, and I thought it was one of my friends messing with me. Really, Doyle's company calling, but they said, "Hey, come to Nashville. We like these songs, and let's meet Doyle, and we'll record some demos." And that's how it all started. And then we hit it off, so we started playing together. We playing shows together for almost 25 years. It's crazy, man.
Yeah, well, that album, Into the Dawn, I can really hear like some Americana folky type, influences in your writing and singing, and especially your singing, your style of singing. It really reminded me of like kind of like cross Canadian ragweed
Oh, that's cool. Wow.
type stuff. Is that like that Americana type rock? Is that kind of in your roots?
Yeah, for sure. I was very much into that, especially when Americana started, when Americana was labeled and it started coming up. And it's interesting because when I made that record, I didn't think it was a country record until I went to a coffee shop in Pennsylvania, sitting at the uh, at the counter having a coffee, and the owner, who I had given the CD to a week or so before, said, "Boy, are you wearing cowboy boots? That's a real country record." And then it just clicked for me. Then I guess it is, with all that twangy Telecaster and steel guitar on there. I guess But yeah, I mean that's what Americana is, right? So I was influenced by all that great, all the Jimmy Buffett stuff, all especially the early stuff was very much country rock, and then before then the Byrds and the Flying Burrito Brothers and the Eagles and CSN and Jackson Brown and all these folk singers and country rock singer songwriters who were using steel guitar, and I just love that sound, and it was amazing to be able to make that record with Doyle, and then we made a bunch since. So I just whatever it is, it's just what comes out. You know, I was very influenced by all those those artists that I spoke of, and then later stuff like I was really into like Mellencamp and Springsteen and stuff that was real roots rock, and then the Americana stuff too. Like
Yeah.
I love Wilco, and before that, oh man, there's so many great artists. Who was I listening to back then? Oh man, I'm spacing out here. I'm sorry,
That's
but
all right.
artists that I was listening to back then, and I can see the album covers, and I can't think of the names of the records. So, well, anyhow, but yeah. So
But
it's
yeah, that
man, it's 8 o'clock my time.
that the record store owner said that it was very country. That's kind of surprising because it's it's got a it's Americana. We listen to it. Maybe that's retrospect in our part, now in 2024. But I can
I
really
guess,
hear it.
yeah,
Go
yeah. I
ahead.
mean, I guess it gets I mean, it certainly wouldn't be country in today's terminology. That's for sure. I mean,
Oh
it
no,
wasn't
no,
rap
no.
at all on that record.
So going back to something you said a while ago, you've had the chance to step in the Jimmy Buffett spotlight and fill in for him, over the last few years or whatever, on more than a few occasions. Can you tell us about, what was your first experience doing that? How'd that come about, and how has that, impacted your career as a musician?
Well, I've been playing the Meeting of the Minds Festival, which is the big Parrot Head festival that until recently was in Key West for 20 plus years. So I started my very first appearance at that festival was back in 2000. So that's 25 years
Oh
ago.
wow.
And I think the next year I brought Doyle down with me, and I asked Doyle, "Hey, do you want to play Key West?" And anyhow, we've been doing it ever since together. And through
Mhm.
Doyle, I met all the other Coral Reefers, and Mike Utley's been very kind to me. Mike has asked me to sing with some or all of the Coral Reefers on a number of occasions, and I've opened for Mac a bunch of times, and Peter Mayer, and I mean, so I've kind of gotten to know these guys a little bit over the years, and they've all been extremely kind. I mean, we were together at a show in Nashville together earlier this year, which was
Yeah.
cool. Um, so it's been great, and as far as affecting what I do, it's been tremendous. I mean, I'm a fan of the music. I love the songs. It's easy for me to step into that role as a singer to sing those songs because I know them and I love them, and excuse me, the Parrot Heads, they kind of dig it too. So it's been good for me. And even when I'm going out doing house concerts and doing the majority of the songs that I sing are mine,
Mhm.
I always sneak in a couple of great old Jimmy Buffett songs because
Oh
without
yeah.
that's how I met 99% of the people that still follow me and I get to play for, whether it's a festival or a house concert in the middle of America or wherever. And so I always want to celebrate that and sing a couple of great Jimmy Buffett songs, like He Went to Paris or Death of an Unpopular Poet, or these brilliant songs that you know that other of my songwriting heroes think highly of, like Dylan. I mean, Dylan talks about those early Jimmy Buffett songs in
Yeah.
high regard. So, um, anyhow, I
Uh-oh. I think we lost him. I think we lost Mr. John Frinzi. His phone was he said it had 10%, and I guess he forgot to plug it back up. I will stay on and talk about, let's see. let's talk about Meeting of the Minds real quick and see if he will log back on. Uh, Pulling up their full schedule for the hangout right here. So we'll talk about some of this. The music starts on Wednesday, the Meeting of the Minds. And at 11 a.m. to 12 p.m., there will be Jerry Diaz will be at the Hangout Mermaid stage. They're going to have two different stages. If you're standing on the street looking at the Hangout, the main stage is on the right hand side, and on the left hand side of the building is where the parking lot runs up between there and the Pink Pony right there. And I'm pretty sure, I'm 99% sure, in that parking lot is where they're going to have the Mermaid stage set up and the Buddy's Backyard stage set up. So Jerry Diaz will be at the Hangout Mermaid stage on Wednesday at 11 a.m. And then 12 p.m. it'll be Kelly McGuire on the Hangout Mermaid stage. And then 1:30 will be Erica Sunshine Lee on the Mermaid stage. 2:45 will be Sunny Jim at the Hangout Mermaid stage. 4 p.m. we're moving to the main stage. So it looks like music on the main stage won't start until 4 p.m. It will be Waves of Steel, the Gulf Shores High School Band. Oh, I hadn't noticed that on the schedule. High School Band will be there. 4 p.m. to 4:45. 45 minutes of High School Band. I wonder if I need to send him this link again. Hang on, people. We're working on the fly here. We're gonna copy this link. And it should be the same link. We're just gonna send it again. Maybe his phone is rebooting. But working on the fly here. Working on the fly. Go. Link. You never know what's going to happen. Podcast. Let's see. We'll send that back to him and see if he might get fired back up here in a minute. We'll give him 10 more minutes. If I can talk for 10 more minutes, we'll call it. Maybe we can pick this up as a part 2 at some point. Let's see. Wednesday at 5 p.m. Opening ceremonies at the Hangout main stage, 5 p.m. Wednesday. Then 5:15, the Tom Shepard Band on the main stage at the Hangout. From 5:15, let's see this on here, till 6:15, playing 1 hour. And then 6:30 to 8, a Jimmy Buffett tribute show. I think that's going to be a bunch of different people up there playing. And then at 8:15, the Trop Rock Music Association award show is going to be right there on the main stage at the Hangout. Last year, they had it at, I think, the convention center at a different place. We're talking about Gulf Shores for people that don't know. It's going to be on the main stage at the Hangout. And then that will conclude Wednesday. Let's see. Thursday, moving over to 9 a.m., the Mini Mart opens at Buddy's Backyard stage. They have a, like, for people that don't know, it's like a, what's the word I'm looking for? Auction that you bid on these gift baskets and stuff that all the different Parrot Head clubs from around the nation bring and donate to raise money for said charities. Thursday, 9:45 a.m., Pirates and Poets Showcase with Jerry Diaz, Heather Vidal, and Brent Burns at Buddy's Backyard stage. Thursday, 11 a.m., Darby Ledbetter at the Mermaid stage. Thursday, we got two different things going on at those side-by-side stages. 11:30 at the Buddy's Backyard stage, Pirates and Poets Showcase with Eric Erdman, Mark Carson, and Dennis Davis. And then 12:15, Crystal King will be on the Mermaid stage. 1:30. This is what I was. Wait, are we getting John back? Are we getting? I think. Hang on. My button will come up.
Hold on.
He's back.
Hey, so I'm so sorry about that. I'm so unprepared. Hold on. I didn't even think about plugging my phone in. I'm so sorry. I'm kind of a
That's
nut.
all right. I was ad-libbing for a minute, hoping you was coming back on.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I'm so sorry. I'm just going to make sure that my phone is plugged and charging. I think it is.
You're just keeping it interesting. That's all.
Yeah. I think we're good. I think
Show business is unpredictable.
It is indeed. Sorry.
I'll drink to that with you.
Thank you. What are you drinking, Jason?
I'm just drinking beer right now in my tin cup.
Me too. I've got a little Guinness here and in a glass. Because
I like Guinness.
I love Guinness.
I've never been to Ireland. I really want to go to Ireland and have, the real thing in Dublin.
It was amazing. I did an 8-day trip to Ireland with Scott Kirby. I'm sure you know Scott Kirby.
Yeah.
The great singer-songwriter. I did this is such an unflattering angle here. There we go. Is that okay, or is this better? What works better for you on here?
There you go. It flipped. It flipped.
I went. My wife and I went to Ireland with Scott Kirby a couple of years ago, and he does a beautiful tour where he brings 40 people on a lovely coach in a bus, and he plays every night. And he invited me as a musical guest, which was just wonderful. And Gabriel Donahue is a great musician, friend of Scott's. He was there as well, Irish musician. And so we traveled all over Ireland, and we played for our private group, or Scott's private group, and then it was just the most amazing time. We had such a great time. We played in some pubs, we played in some beautiful ballrooms, and it was really cool. So Ireland
awesome.
was amazing. Best trip we've ever taken, my wife and I together. It was incredible.
How did those audiences react to American music?
They were mostly American audiences. They had some.
Oh, really?
It was it's like if you booked a private tour on a 40 passenger bus, and you invited your fans to come, and
I got you.
So but it was incredible. And in between all the music was all of the historical sightseeing and such. It was really incredible. Just an amazing trip. In fact, we were so inspired by that trip with Scott Kirby that we put our own together for next year. In June of next year, my wife Margot and I are taking the same thing, a beautiful coach tour of England, and we're going to do London and Bath and Liverpool and a couple of other places that I can't remember at the moment. But we're going to do the same thing: stay in beautiful hotels and do some sightseeing and play some music every night. And so it's going to be cool. Yeah, cool, totally stole the idea from Scott Kirby, and I told him.
Did you get to kiss the Blarney Stone?
No, we didn't go to the Blarney Stone.
Any old castles, like castle tours or anything like that?
We did. We where were we? Went up to yes. We saw some castle ruins. We didn't go in any castles, but we did visit some castle ruins that hung over a cliff, which were just incredible. And I can't remember what they were at this point. It was a lot of Irish whiskey. In fact, Kirby introduced me to some pretty amazing Irish whiskey on that trip. So thank you, Scott Kirby.
There you go. Well, let's talk about some music, if you don't mind.
Sure. No, I love music.
Let's dive down into some songwriting, if you don't care.
I'm happy to talk about whatever you want to talk about. This is
great. Let's talk about your 2009 album, Shoreline. Great album, by the way.
Thank you. That's the one. That's the one that is the record that people are most familiar with.
Yeah, some great songs on there. I'll whip through some of my favorites real quick, and then we can talk about it. But
sure.
Sweet Midnight, it has a really easy breezy, laid back feel to it. Really cool song.
Yeah.
The Only One.
Yeah.
Really, I heard a lot of Eagles influence in that. You mentioned the Eagles
For
earlier.
sure. Yeah, for sure.
That sounds like something they could do, right there. Uh, Gentlemen of Leisure. Really?
Well,
Go.
Gentleman of Leisure, that's a Jesse Winchester song.
Oh, is it? I didn't
Yeah,
know.
that was just a cover. And most of those songs on that record are mine. And well, most of those songs on that record I wrote with Tom Corcoran,
Mm-hmm.
my late friend Tom, who passed away last year. Um, and Tom wrote Fins and Cuban Crime of Passion with Jimmy. And oddly enough, Jimmy and Tom and Greg Fingers also all passed away the same year. That was just weird. But
How did you
they all
meet
were
Tom
there at the very
Corcoran?
beginning, So, but anyhow, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
How did you meet Tom Corcoran?
I met Corcoran in Key West many, many years ago when I was still living in New Jersey before I moved to Florida. I've been in Florida for, let's see, my wife would know exactly, 2004. So, 2007. We came down in 2007. So 18
Mm-hmm.
years, whatever. You do the math. I can
Yeah.
count four over and over again. That's my
I
thing.
hate math. I hate math.
So anyhow, I met Tom in Key West many years ago in Meeting the Minds.
Mm-hmm.
And then I ended up moving to Lakeland, Florida, which is in Central Florida, just east of Tampa, between Tampa and Orlando, and that's where Tom was living at the time. He had been moved from the Keys years before and was living in Lakeland, and I ended up kind of moving into his neighborhood unknowingly, because I didn't know him well at the time.
You're stalking him.
I knew he lived in. Well, I was living in a Publix grocery store. You have Publix in Nashville, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I was in a Publix grocery store with my kid, who's 20 now, was 2, in the shopping cart, like in the seat of the shopping cart, and I'm in the wine aisle of the Publix. And I swear to God, I hear this, Frinzi, what are you doing in my Publix? And it was Corcoran in the wine aisle. We're both shopping for the right Pinot Noir. But and I'm like, hey, what's up? He says, what do you, and I'm like, hey, man, I just moved up the road. He's like, well, this is my neighborhood. I'm like, well, we've got to write some songs. I said, what do you got around from, say, 1974? He's like, I got tons. He says, drop your kid off and bring the wine over. Here's my address. And then we would get from that time on, we got together at least 3 or 4 times a week.
Wow.
We were neighbors. We were half a mile from each other.
Yeah.
He was writing mystery novels, and then in between at the same time, we were writing songs together. So we wrote most of the Shoreline record together, and then we made another record. That's a real acoustic record that never went on to streaming. It's called Salt River, and we wrote most of that record together too. And that has songs like All Up on the Wall and some songs that we wrote together that were pretty good tunes, So, but yeah, so that's that. We wrote a lot of stuff together and did a lot of things together. It was great. Tom was a great guy. I miss him.
Well, cool. Getting back to the album, some of the more other songs on there, Buoyancy.
Yeah.
It's a very acoustic-y, stripped down song. And I like that. I like when you can strip a song down to the bare minimum and
Sure.
And it's still good, then you got something good.
Yeah, that's a good tune. People love that song, man. I mean, I can just play that with an acoustic guitar, and it's kind of like that. There's a lot of mellow songs in that. Like Sweet Midnight's kind of swings a little bit, but it's still got that mellow beach vibe. And Buoyancy is just like that's a floating song. I remember writing that music. Tom had that's one of those songs that came from a lyric that he wrote in the 70s. He wrote it on a bar napkin in Key West, and it just said, "Nobody floats like me." That he wrote on the bar napkin, and we were on a fan cruise. We took 150 or so people on a Caribbean cruise, and Tom was on it. JD Spradlin from Radio Margaritaville was on it with us. And we were playing shows every day and on the boat, and then, on the islands and stuff. And we were coming into, I think it was Cozumel. We were coming in, and we had a broken stabilizer on the boat. So the ship was kind of just moving a little bit. know, and I'm sitting in my bunk going, da-na-na-na, you know, I mean, you know, the groove to that song, right? It's like that riff, and so the boat was just, you know, it was just shifting a little bit or just swaying or whatever they call that.
Uh-huh.
You know, so that's how I wrote that riff. It was moving to the sway of the cruise ship with a broken stabilizer.
Yeah, I
You know?
really like that little that signature lick that you just played
That's
out.
it.
It
Yeah,
stands out. Yeah.
yeah, and that's so. And then we took that back and we wrote the rest of the song.
Cool,
Yeah,
man.
the only one, by the way, the only one I did not
Oh, yeah.
write. I didn't write that.
Oh,
Tom wrote that with Keith Sykes, who wrote Volcano,
okay.
um, and Costa Marseille and The Last Line, and uh,
Mm-hmm.
the Jimmy covered, and he wrote a lot of songs with a lot of people. Like he wrote a lot of tunes with Jerry Jeff Walker and Rodney Crowell, and he's amazing. Keith's great. He's still a good friend. I just talked to him the other day, and so when we found that Keith never recorded that song. When I was writing with Corcoran, um, I'd come over, every couple of days I'd go over to Tom's house and we'd drink wine and try and write songs. And he had this big grin on his face when I showed up with a bottle of red wine. He's like, "Look what I found." And he had this shoebox just sitting on his desk, right here. And he was just grinning like the Cheshire Cat. He's like, "Look."
Mm-hmm.
He's like, "Look what I found." And he opens it up and it's this box of cassettes and they're all labeled, like he had before, what was the Buffett record? He had a bunch of early Buffett demos and stuff. And he's like, "This is one. He said, this is me and Keith sitting on a couch in Memphis where Keith Sykes lives." And it was a bunch of songs they wrote together, just Keith playing and Tom, and they're both of them sitting, just, they're writing demos. So I'm like, "Ooh, I like that Only One." It was called The Only One Is Not in Love Tonight. That's what they call
Mm-hmm.
it. Keith never recorded it. So I called Keith. I'm like, "Hey, man, I'd love to record this song and I'd love you to sing on it." And so I did, and he did. He sang all the harmony on that song. And yeah, it's a cool tune. Doyle played on it, of course. And yeah, it's a fun barroom song, a sad barroom tune. But I can't take credit for it. I just sang it. Those guys wrote
Man, I got to find me a neighbor like that. I need to.
it. You live in Nashville. You probably got 100 of them.
It's hard to hook up with neighbors here. It's so big, but
Why is that?
I don't know. It's a big town, but if you're not out there in the bars every night meeting
Yeah,
people, it's kind of hard, and
I get it.
it is what it is.
I do. And we looked
Yeah.
at Nashville. I remember when my son was just a baby, and I said he's 20 now. Margot, my wife, and I, we flew down to Nashville, and Doyle had a buddy, guitar player friend who, remember Lynn Anderson, Rose
Hmm.
Garden. I never promised you a Rose Garden.
Yeah.
Well, Doyle played in her band for many, many years, and his friend Steve, who was the guitar player in Lynn Anderson's band, was also a realtor. And we went down. We looked at a bunch of houses in Nashville. We almost moved to Nashville, and then I'm like, I don't know, it's kind of gray and chilly. I think maybe we'll go to Florida. Now I regret it. I wish we kind of went to Nashville.
It's crazy now. It's crazy how much it has grown in the last 10
Every,
years. It
everything
is.
has, man.
Yeah.
Everything. I mean, that was almost 20 years ago, where
Mhm.
we went down and we looked at a bunch of properties with Doyle's friend Steve, and good Lord. Anyhow, whatever. You never know, man. You never know what's going to happen. We ended up here on the Gulf Coast of Florida, and it's been good. It's been really good. But
I imagine.
I don't know. I kind of
Yeah.
miss these. I miss wearing flannel shirts and socks.
Well, come
I
on up and
said that to
visit.
my buddy Aaron. Oh, I may be up there this week.
Hey, it's gonna be I think 33 degrees Wednesday night here.
It's all about the gear, man. You have to have the gear. If you have the gear, it's all good. You
Yeah.
can't, when it's 105 degrees with 150% humidity, you can't peel that off,
Can
You
only
know
take off so much.
exactly.
Well, one more song I want to talk about on that album is, and this is an interesting song, "Slip Away,"
Oh, I love that song. That's
Look,
my
because you
favorite
had it
song.
on there. I'm sorry, go ahead.
What did you say? I'm sorry.
So it's a track, and then it's listed as the hidden track,
Oh,
and
okay. Okay.
And then you released it in 2023 too. So there's 3 different versions of this song. So you want to tell us about that?
All right. Well, I re-released a couple of songs this year or last year. My gosh, is it last year? Last year and this year, 23 and 24. But I'll go back to the originals. Okay, so "Slip Away" was one of the last tracks we wrote for that record, and that was I wrote most of that song at like 7 o'clock in the morning. I was always an early riser, and I'm up sitting out back by the pool and drinking my coffee, and the sun's just coming up, and there literally were the birds were on the phone line behind the house, and I'm drinking my coffee, and the sun's coming up. I'm looking east, and it was just like I'm kind of in a daze, and I wrote almost that whole song, and then I called Corcoran about noon. I said, I have. Excuse me. That's what I get for drinking Guinness and talking to you on the phone. I called him. I said, let's finish this. This is almost done. I mean, I had 3/4 of the song, and then Tom brought his magic to it and made it even better, which is what usually happens, and but I love that song. I'm proud of that song. It's got a lot of chords in it. It's got a lot of changes. I love how, I guess, visual that song is, even when I sing it now, and I've been singing the song for 15 years now. And it's, I think it's an effective song. I think it takes you somewhere,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
And I re-recorded it because, when I first recorded that song, it was just basically a demo. It was just me playing an acoustic guitar. That is this old. Is it out somewhere? No, it's not out. But I got this old 1929 Maybell acoustic guitar, which is a little tiny parlor guitar.
Mm-hmm.
And I played the song on that, and then I played acoustic piano. I had a real acoustic piano in our house in Lakeland before we moved down here to the beach, and they were slightly out of tune, and it was a little funky,
Yeah.
And I asked my buddy TC Mitchell, used to play saxophone with Jimmy Buffett. He and Amy Lee were the saxophone section, and I asked TC if he'd play on it. So he played the flute on it, and then at the same time, John Patty played a pan part on it.
Mm-hmm.
I would take the two and combine and go back, kind of mix them in and out. But they're both of the solos I thought were so cool that I just released, I put them both on the record, and that's why the one was the hidden track with Johnny on it.
Gotcha.
And then I have been working with Eric Darkin, the great percussionist from Nashville, who's been with Jimmy forever and played on all the Kenny Chesney records, and he's played with, Eric Darkin's amazing. Everybody wants Darkin on their record. So he's produced 5 songs of mine in the last year. We've been working together. It's just taking our time. I'm not in any hurry because, for what? To put out a CD, no one's buying CDs anymore. So we've been putting these songs one by one out, and we recorded some new stuff, and then we re-recorded a couple of songs that "Slip Away" as one of them, which we upped. Eric, let's up the tempo a little bit, and then he played more than percussion on. He played like some keys, and he played some mallet percussion, like he played vibes and marimba on some of the songs. Excuse me. But I think that's a really cool version. I think it just moves, the new version moves along, and anyhow, so that's "Slip Away."
Yeah. Interesting. That kind of clears it up the two, because I noticed the 2 different instruments you had. I thought it was like a xylophone or something in the flute, but
Oh yeah.
interesting. So what about? Not trying to keep you too long on here.
No,
Can't we?
well,
We can't.
now I'm good.
You had a little break, huh?
Yeah, I was a break looking for my phone cable and trying to, literally, we just got power yesterday, and I'm still plugging stuff in, So
Yeah.
My cable. We evacuated we were gone for a week, or since Monday, so whatever that is, almost a week.
Yeah.
And then, a week before that, we had evacuated for 4 days or 5 days or something. So we're kind of in disarray here,
Gotcha.
Anyway,
Understandable.
so what? So I'm not in any hurry. What else you got?
So we can't overlook, and you mentioned before your friendship with Aaron Schurz.
Sure.
And earlier this year, like the beginning of the year, you and Aaron Schurz and Doyle Grisham put out the song Florida Man.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So can you tell us about that? Like whose idea was that, and how was that
Yeah.
song
Yeah.
born?
Let me get my beer.
This must be a heck of a story here.
Well, no, I'm just, it is Saturday night, right?
If you want it to be.
So Aaron comes down here to Florida. We play around the country a lot together, but he came down to Florida. I guess it was early last year, so over a year ago. And we were doing a bunch of shows, and we were we were driving up the Florida Turnpike from a show in West Palm Beach to, I think we were going to Orlando or Tampa or something. And he's like, we got to write Florida Man. Because I'm driving and he's looking at YouTube and looking at all these Florida Man videos. He's like, I can't believe people do this shit down here, And anyhow, he's like, we got to write this. And I'm like, no, man, I don't want to write Florida Man. I said, I don't know. And finally, he talked me into it. And then, boom, it turned out to be a monster track. And Radio Margaritaville's playing a lot of it. And, thankful, very thankful for it.
It's a great tune. It's catchy as hell. It gets stuck in your head. And I guess that's what you want out of a song, right?
Yeah. Well, it's always the goofy songs that catch people's attention,
And you know what that reminds me? When I saw you guys at Homegrown, y'all did not play that song.
No, I think we played mostly Buffett songs that night. Yeah. We and it started out as just Aaron and I were going to play a little show, and then, or what was it? No, Brendan and I talked about doing something because I was going to be in town for something else. And then, Aaron, why don't you come and play? And then Pete called me, Brendan's dad, and said, hey, do you mind if I come and bring a guitar amp? I'm like, oh, I think that'd be okay. Right. And then Doyle and Darkin, and it was only a couple months after Jimmy died or passed away. And so, everybody wanted to come and kind of just play these songs. And it felt natural to just, to celebrate Jimmy's music, especially with those guys.
Right.
And you were there and you sang some songs. And I mean, that was the vibe. It was pretty, it was a pretty obvious vibe that we were kind of all fell into. It wasn't planned,
Right.
Doyle and I know a lot of songs together. I mean, Doyle and I know a ton of tunes together. And Pete can play anything. And Doyle's brother was there too, which was real cool. Shorty, he's great too. So yeah. So I mean, we didn't play Florida Man. I think maybe we played one or two originals the whole night. I think Aaron and I just did a couple of things in the beginning. And then all the Reefers came up. We just played Buffett tunes, which was cool.
I really appreciate y'all getting me up too. That was
great. You're awesome.
Cool. Thank you, man. And Doyle lives right down the road from me.
Are you out west of Nashville?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Very cool.
So he plays out here in Hickman County at the Grinder Switch Hour every once in a while. So yeah. I saw him last Saturday. I think it was last Saturday at the Sing for Fingers Taylor kind of thing they had in Nashville.
I was going to be there, and then I changed my plans. I had some other stuff going on. It was impossible for me to be in Fort Lauderdale and Nashville the same weekend, so I had to kind of weigh my options. I thought it would take my whole weekend to go up there just to go up to Nashville and sing 2 or 3 songs, and I thought I had to make a hard choice. But I heard it was a great event. Roger, my buddy Bartlett was there, so he's amazing.
Yeah. Roger was good. Roger played for a long time. When he got up there, he played a lot of stuff. He was
well, he's good. Great. So you got to see Doyle.
Yeah. And between me and you, nobody else is listening. I asked him to play some steel on my next album, and he said yes. So
he's a good guy.
Cross your fingers.
Make sure everything's in tune before you send it to him. I've done a lot of work with Doyle in the last, like I said, 25 years, and boy, he gets some. People ask him to play, and he's a kind man. He really is. But nothing pisses him off more than like somebody who sends him like an attitude and guitar track,
Mm,
and he's like, "How am I going to play to this?"
right. I'll keep
Hey,
that in mind. I'll keep that in mind.
check your tune.
So, give us a sneak peek into your songwriting process. Do you have like
No.
lists of ideas on your phone or
Yeah.
anything? Or
Oh yeah, for sure. I've got more songs than I'll ever write. Song ideas and chord changes, and I've got a bunch of verses and choruses written musically and lyrically, and I'll probably never get to most of them. But honestly, I mean, the way that I work is I'll come up with an idea, and sometimes I'll get lucky and get half a song done or half a song, what could be a song, and then I'll get with Aaron, and he's a brilliant songwriter, and for many years Aaron was a staff songwriter, and
mm-hmm.
that was his job. Five Monday through Friday, he would write songs. That's why he has like 8 million songs that he's written.
Mm-hmm.
And he knows how to finish a tune. And so if I have something that's real good that I think is good, I'll call him up and say, hey, let's write a song. But I try not to waste his time unless I have something that I think is good. But we've had a pretty good uh, pretty good string of songs come out in the last 10 years or so. I mean, Summer Sun was good, Lion or Lucky, Florida Man, what else? Jimmy and John, a lot of tunes. So it's fun to write with him. He's just brilliant. He's just really good at doing it. He makes it easy. I mean, I can sit down with him and I can have a sentence written out that I think is a catchy line or something, and 3 hours later we're done. We have a finished song.
Awesome.
That's Aaron. That's not me.
I need to try to get him on the show too.
There you should get a hold of him, man. I was just talking to him like minutes before I went online with you. I'm like, I gotta go.
Well, cool. Do you have any plans for any albums or songs coming out in the near future?
Well, I've got those 5 songs that I recorded with Eric Darkin producing, and I'd like to put that out as a package, whether it be a EP or maybe just a digital EP. A couple of them out of singles, all up on the wall and slip away. But there's a couple more, and I'd like to. They need to be mixed, and then when they're mixed, I'll probably put those out as some sort of package. Maybe an EP or something. Other than that, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not like, I don't have a fire to write songs. Every once in a while, I'll get excited about a line or something, and then, like I said, I'll call Aaron and we'll do something. But I don't know. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, that'll come out eventually, but other than that, I don't have anything else in the works.
All right. Well, let me know if you do.
I will.
Let's talk about some of your upcoming dates, and we'll try to wrap this up.
Sure.
I know you're playing Meeting of the Minds Thursday on the Buddy's Backyard stage at 1:30.
Yeah, that's true. And I'm actually getting into town the day before Wednesday, and I don't think it's been even announced, but so Floating Collective is playing at Lulu's, Jimmy's place, and Aaron won't be there, unfortunately. Aaron McAnally, Mac's daughter, Mick's wife. So Mick sit in and play with those guys. So I'll be playing with Floating Collective on Wednesday night at Lulu's.
Okay.
And then Buddy's Backyard stage with Doyle and Aaron. And then Friday with Aaron's at the Floribama. That's a ticket.
Okay.
There's a part of the Floribama. I've never been there. So that
Really?
particular there's a outdoor stage or something. I don't know where it is, but there's a ticket event. It was supposed to be at D-Max, and then the place closed down.
Oh,
excuse me. But I believe the owner passed away unexpectedly or whatnot. But so we were able to move that because it was ticketed. The tickets were all sold. So we moved that to a private part of the Floribama, and that's Friday. And then Saturday, I'm going to be over back at Lulu's with John Patty and Nadira and maybe I don't know who else is going to be there, but Clee will probably be there. But we did it last year with Nadira and Clee and John Patty and Brendan was there. So it'll be a kind of a a revolving cast of musicians at Lulu's on for Saturday, and I will be there then. So
Okay. Well, I'm going to be there all week, so I'll try to catch
cool.
up with you.
Say hey, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That'll be cool.
So where can people catch up with you, follow you, find out news, hear your music, whatever?
Well, just type John Frinzi into Google and you'll get more than you've bargained for.
All right, cool, man. I guess we're going to wrap it up. I really appreciate you joining me here on Music City Trop Rock.
Thanks, Jason.
And I'm sure I'll talk to you at Meeting of the Minds and we'll keep in touch, man.
For sure, man. Thank you so much for having me. Cheers.
I enjoyed it, man.
See you in Gulf Shores, Alabama. Take care.
All right. That's all for Music City Trop Rock, y'all. Keep the party going and fence up. All right.